first story is plane crashes into Pennsylvania retirement community. Kind of crazy situation here. I'm going to read through the first 2 paragraphs and then we're going to discuss the tricky vocabulary in it. The rest of it is in the PDF below with all the other ones from today's episodes, with all the definitions and some like little games for you to help remember the words as well. So let's get into it. Plane crashes into Pennsylvania retirement community. On Sunday, March 9th, 2025, a single-engine Beechcraft Bonanza aircraft carrying 5 individuals crashed into the parking lot of the Brethren Village retirement community in Manheim Township, Pennsylvania, shortly after takeoff from Lancaster Airport. The incident occurred around 3:18 p.m. EDT, resulting in a significant fire that damaged approximately a dozen vehicles, but miraculously spared any buildings or ground injuries. All 5 occupants survived the crash and were transported to local hospitals. Their conditions have not been disclosed. Witnesses reported that the plane appeared to struggle shortly after takeoff, veering left before descending nose first, leading to an immediate fireball upon impact. Crazy scenario, buddy.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, totally.
To say the least. There's a lot of interesting words in there that I'm not used to seeing in this context, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll definitely. Well, there's a couple that are not necessarily the definition of that word. I think a few of them are used within the names of places. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like,
so I've taken a couple of them though, just to explain them for anyone who needs it. So let's have a look at the first one, bonanza.
That was definitely a word that jumped out to me. So like, bonanza is basically like if somebody wins a lot of money, it's like, oh, that's a bonanza.
Yes.
You know, like that kind of thing. So I guess it's like a situation that, I don't know, like you get a lot of money, or like it says here, you create a large amount of something valuable, like, but in this context, it's a bit hard to understand. I guess it's like a single engine Beechcraft Bonanza aircraft.
I think
like,
it's just
what a name that is.
That's why I highlighted that it might not mean the meaning that we're thinking about. I think it's more to do with like a marketing word.
Probably like Beechcraft Bonanza sounds good, like with the alliteration and stuff. So
yeah, exactly. So sometimes in marketing things don't make sense, but they're like buzzwords to make it sound a lot stronger. It's an eye-catching word, essentially, isn't it? So yeah, bonanza. What a great word. I think there was an American TV show called A Bonanza, wasn't there, at some point?
Probably. I think it seems to be one of those things like, you know, like when you used to watch Bullseye back in the day, like Bully's special prize, like a bonanza of bacon.
Bonanza of bacon. I'm all for it. I'll be on the show tomorrow. Okay, and the next one is dozen. I picked this one. Maybe many people know it, but quite a lot of my students always ask me about this one when it comes up. So dozen.
Yeah, 12, basically.
Essentially, I don't know if they use it in American
talk about
English.
Dozens in like eggs, right? You get like a dozen eggs or whatever.
That's right. So I don't know if they use it in American English so frequently, but we definitely use it a lot. That's why it surprised me that not many people. Same with like the word fortnight is another one.
Yeah, it's not just a game, is it? It's like
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yes, that's another one that people, especially young people, they just know the game. They don't realize there's a actual expression, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about baker's dozen?
I was literally going to bring that one up next. Yeah, baker's dozen. So a dozen is a group of 12, as you quite rightly pointed out, or an amount of 12 things. But a baker's dozen's 13, isn't it? Essentially one extra one for the baker, isn't it?
I don't really know where it comes from. I just know it's 13. Anyway.
Yeah,
I'm always a bit like, oh, all right.
I always like the story I set up in my head that the baker is trying to get one for himself, essentially.
I thought he just couldn't count. Like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, maybe it was a stereotype of bakers from the 1980s or something. I don't know. Okay, next one. Miraculously.
Miraculous. Coming from the word miracle.
Yes.
As in, it seems impossible or like, it's a miracle. It's miraculous.
Yes, totally. Miraculous.
And miraculously being the adverb, I suppose.
Yeah, miraculously, I am well organised today. So there we go. That's today's example. There we go. And the next one is spared, as we can see on the document.
Yeah, like to be spared from something is like you're not included in it. Like, let's say, for example, in this case, we've got this crash and they were spared from harm. They weren't included in getting hurt. So,
Yeah. Or, for example, if someone is in court and they plead they plead guilty, they are spared part of the sentence, aren't they? They usually get a
oh, that's
reduced
right. Yeah,
sentence, so they have less time in jail. So they're spared part of the time, you could say.
yeah. It's basically, but it's still like the concept of like there's two things and you're not included in one of them. And spared kind of feels more like they've done you a favor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Spot on. Spare us the details is a good phrase, by the way. Spare us, don't give us the details. Spare us the details. We don't need it.
Yeah.
Just we understand. A word that sounds similar though, which is quite useful to know, is spurn. To spurn something.
To like reject.
Yeah. Or to miss an opportunity as well. Like for example, in football, it comes up a lot. Many Tottenham strikers spurn the chance in front of goal.
It didn't take us long. How many minutes in are we?
Just 7 minutes. But I had to chuck it in there. But you could say another word that's synonymous with Tottenham as well is bottle it as well, isn't it? So they're kind of closely linked. And to disclose something. I disclosed the information about Tottenham. Disclose.
Yeah, so it's to reveal some kind of information, more in like a formal setting, or like something will be revealed to the public. It'll be disclosed, like publicly disclosed, for example. But it's basically like revealing information in a pretty formal way.
So the what should be done in this time this year is the JFK files are disclosed to the public. That's one of the things that they're suggesting to do. Yeah, 100%. So we'll know if there's government involvement or not, if there was government involvement, I should say. And the last one is to veer, which is quite useful for this topic, of course.
Yeah, the verb to veer, or usually it comes with the off course, veer off course, as in to change direction suddenly from the place you should be going to somewhere else. Yeah.
Veer one way as well, yeah. That's right. So you might hear it in F1. You might hear it any time when there's a vehicle included to veer to essentially change direction quickly, isn't it? And something that you'll find a lot. It's actually quite a common word, so it's worth a while knowing if you didn't know it before. Okay, wonderful stuff. So let's go back to us. And what we'll do now is we'll get Dan to read through this beautiful...
My turn, is it?
Yes, it's your turn, buddy, just so I remember, otherwise I'll forget. It's Dan's turn to read through this article and just have a listen, see if you took on those words and then listen one more time and see how much you understand this time around, okay? You could always practice shadowing as well if you want to, alongside Dan. So, here we go. Oh, that's me. Here we go.
So on Sunday, March 9th, 2025, a single-engine Beechcraft Bonanza aircraft carrying 5 individuals crashed into the parking lot of the Brethren Village Retirement Community in Manheim Township, Pennsylvania, shortly after takeoff from Lancaster Airport. The incident occurred around 3:18 p.m. EDT, resulting in a significant fire that damaged approximately a dozen vehicles, but miraculously spared any buildings or ground injuries. All 5 occupants survived the crash and were transported to the local hospitals. Their conditions have not been disclosed. Witnesses reported that the plane appeared to struggle shortly after takeoff, veering left before descending nose first, leading to an immediate fireball upon impact.
Fireball, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Crazy scenario. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, it's one of them things, isn't it? It's just like getting struck by lightning or whatever. Like you just, I'm in your retirement community, and next minute your car park's on fire because a plane's crashed into it.
Because a plane's crashed.
What can you do?
But it feels like I'm travelling to the UK in a couple of weeks. And it feels like I've heard about plane crashes 3 times in the last 3 months. Like
And
there was
it seems to be like all the time at the minute. Maybe it's one of those things. It's
all the
like,
time. Then let's not go to the extreme. I mean,
no,
there's
but you know what I
million,
mean. Like
there's hundreds of thousands of planes taken off every day. I think, isn't there? Or maybe
it's like that
thousands.
thing though. It's like for years we didn't really hear any plane crashes, and suddenly we've heard
Yeah.
about a bunch. And it's kind of like that concept where you buy a white car and then all you see is white cars.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
maybe like
yeah.
you had a plane crash. Now all you're
Coincidence.
seeing is plane crash. It's kind of like maybe
When
it's a
you're
bit
thinking
like that,
about
but
it, you hear
yeah,
about it more. But also, these are big moments. So I think that.
yeah.
But I think last year there was a plane with someone, a Russian delegate, that was downed. Then there were, obviously at the start of last year we had a big one here in Japan as well. Not necessarily a plane in the sky, but there was two planes collided on the 2nd
On
of
the
January.
runway, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, on the runway. And then yeah, so the Russian thing happened, and then there was a
Delta
plane.
thing.
There was a plane in America that I can't
Oh,
remember
the one
exactly.
like over the river, it like crashed into a helicopter or something, didn't it?
Something like that, yeah. And then the Delta one was another one, and then this one. So that's six.
Seems to
I
be
mean,
like quite a lot.
I probably would never have heard of this story if I weren't searching for it, to be fair. I was searching for something
Yeah,
from
I'd not
the
heard of
last
this,
week.
so.
So I try not to keep I learn probably most of my news these days from this podcast. So
Where all my news comes from.
yeah, there we go. So like I was watching a lot of news, but it's yeah, not good for your
depressing.
mental health, I don't think so. But yeah, it's a crazy scenario though, this one. And yeah, made me think a lot as I'm going to be going on a plane in the next
Yeah, I
couple
was
of
like,
weeks.
I was thinking like, if I fly this year, I might not feel that comfortable about it.
Do you ever have any fear of flying, or have you had any kind of feeling when you get on a plane? It doesn't have to be a fear, but like a feeling, let's
No,
say.
not really. Like, I don't really. I mean, if I'm gonna get on a plane, it's gonna crash. There's nothing I can do about it anyway. So whatever. Um, but I had that thought, like, what would I do if I was on a plane, like going to the ground? Like, what would I try and, everybody thinks it's that same thing. Like, what would I do if I'm in an elevator that just suddenly dropped? Like, you have a little think about what you would try and do. Inevitably, none of it will matter, but you think about it, right?
Yeah.
For me, though, on airplanes, I'm more worried about like, all right, I've got 12 hours on this plane. I want to be comfortable. Like, hopefully, I'm not next to like a crying baby or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Well, I
That's
don't
more,
mind that
that's a
so
bigger
much
concern.
because I'm a parent, so I can understand
Yeah.
it. I think when we don't have that experience of that thing, we're less resilient to it. Let's say.
I mean, I don't mind. To be honest, I'm a big lad, so like, I'm rather just like, I hope somebody's not sat next to me, so I don't have to sit like this for like 12 hours. You know what I mean? To not invade their space because I'm a fat lad. But
Another
yeah,
good
and
reason to
I
have
always
kids.
try and have an
You
aisle
take up an
seat.
extra
Yeah.
seat, so
I mean, it's not a bad idea actually.
they're half the size.
I'll just have to borrow your lad next time I want to go home.
No, it's okay. Do you know what? I have more of a fear, not fear of flying, but I have the similar thought process of you. I can't do anything about it once I'm in the air. It is what it is. But that since having kids, it has crept into my mind a bit more. That's all I'll
Yeah,
say.
it will do, ain't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. To be honest, I'd rather just be like, hopefully I get an aisle seat. Hopefully, there's nobody sat next to me. I always try and book a seat that I think nobody's going to sit in the middle. And yeah, do that. That's what I try and do.
Sure.
But then in most flights, the stewardess or whatever will come be like, do you want to sit there? Because there's an extra space.
Yeah.
So that happens to me quite a lot. So
Sure. Yeah, I can
I
understand.
suppose really I should book 2 seats, but it's too fucking expensive. So
Seats for the twins, as they used to be the phrase in England. Like if you're quite big, like me and Dan are quite big, so that would be the joke. Like you need extra seats for the extra parts of your body. Okay, let's go on to the quiz. Quiz time it is. Here we go. So we're going to go over some of the give you a couple of questions from some of the words we just went over. And the first one is, the businessman experienced a financial blah, 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 blah after discovering a valuable new market leading to massive profits. Okay.
Wow.
What are the potential answers now?
So we've got veering, miraculously, bonanza, and disclosed.
Okay, so we're going to give you 5 seconds and an excellent tune. So giving you time to pick your answer, but just 5 seconds, so pick it now. Here we go. That was a triangle at the end. Okay,
lovely.
what's the answer, Dan?
The correct answer is bonanza.
Bonanza, that's right.
Yeah, good.
The businessman experienced a financial bonanza after discovering a valuable new market leading to massive profits. Okay, now we're going to go to question 2. Dan's going to read it for us.
Right. So the car was from the crash because the driver managed to swerve just in time.
Okay, we've got a couple of words that could fit in here, I think, but there is only one answer, of course. 5 seconds. But the potential answers, first of all, are dozen, spared, disclosed, and veering. Okay.
Okay, so you got 5 seconds. Starting now. That were a bass solo.
That could have fit in San Andreas, I feel.
Yeah, on the radio.
So the answer is spared.
Not veered. I think a lot of people might have chose veered for that.
Yeah, because
So the fact that they swerve and veer
Yeah.
are basically synonyms. So
Yeah.
you don't swerve and veer, you swerve or veer. Yeah.
yeah, totally. So the car was spared from the crash because the driver managed to swerve just in time. Of course, it's never good to see these situations like plane crashes appear in the news. But one good thing that did appear in the news recently is this story about a young superstar of darts who won the World Championship at just 17. Amazing job. You can check out the article and the explanations we give for the vocabulary in this video here.